All right, today we're going to be working these all-important hip flexors. We worked them already, some with our squats, but we're going to work them using that nice little circle band that I introduced in the last video. It's just a nice round band. They usually come in sets of like 4 or 5 for like 10 bucks. You can get some thicker ones that have fabric and elastic together, a little bit thicker. They don't roll as much, so they are just a little bit more comfortable sometimes. These do pinch hair if you get it right there on a spot with lots of hair, and then, you know, guys definitely have that problem for sure. If you've got a lot of leg hair, sometimes you do need to be aware of it may pinch the hair as it rolls, but for the most part, if you put it right above on a fabric section, then it tends to not have that problem. So we're going to start with our hip flexor right here in a seated position, sitting up tall as we can. You can have that ball again that we've used before for in your lower back for support against the chair, but you're going to want to scoop forward just a little bit so that your feet are flat on the ground. We're going to start with just a knee lift, just lifting that knee in, pulling it in, making that motion a very thoughtful and purposeful motion. You're pulling that knee up to the chest, not just dropping and slamming it in there. We're not bouncing it. Once we get it there, we're going to hold it up, and then we're going to start to extend and bend. Now this is where you're going to start to feel that action in that hip of holding that leg up and the work being done. Now we could add the band around our foot here, and as we bend and extend, we offer 2 different ways. Could be that we're offering a little guidance in the motion. And then the other way is we could be offering a little resistance depending on how tight of a band you're using. We're going to hold that leg out, and then we're going to start to lower and lift that leg. My foot is flexed. I'm still sitting up tall, and the only part of my body that's moving is that leg. That leg is doing all the action. We got a couple more here, and then we're going to start to take it in rainbows. So lifting up and over. Now, I like the visualization of putting something in front of me so that I know where I have to lift it over. Of course, a ball's not necessarily a good example because it does sometimes move, but you see how it gives me a guide of how high I have to lift that leg to get it up and over. Again, great exercise with or without that band. And then last one, we're going to move to that other leg, starting with those knee lifts. Flexing that foot just really helps to engage that leg so that those quads are really working as you're pulling and setting it down. We got a couple more here. And then we start to extend and bend that leg. These are also great exercises right now for around the knee. And then adding that band, continue with that bend and extend. But most of the work is done by keeping that knee lifted. And in that lift, we are also moving, holding it out and starting to lower and lift that leg. Now, one important thing to notice is when I'm doing the rainbows, I'm putting the obstacle just off to the side in front of me. It's not where I'm going to have to cross over the center line. It's where I'm keeping that leg just off to its side. So as I move this ball over just slightly to move it back, you'll notice that my leg stays out in front of me and off to the side on its side, not crossing over the other leg. Removing that band. And continuing to go on. After we've finished our 10 to 20 of each of those exercises, we're going to take that ball and we're going to put it between our knees. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but doing it from a seated position is going to offer more opportunities for more people. We're going to focus on bringing our feet up off that ground. So we're going to squeeze into that ball, lean back just a tiny bit, and lift and lower those knees, squeezing into that ball. Now you can always hold on to the chair or require your body to do a little bit more balance if you have that as an option, and hold your arms out in front of you. Again, this is starting, the action is starting way down in those hip flexors, but this is an ab exercise in disguise. So we are using our core to help lift and lower that ball. And then as we come down, we're going to take that ball down a little further in between our ankles, scoop back just a little bit, and it doesn't have to be a very big move. We're going to lift both feet. Now, I like to say in my classes, if you can get your feet off the ground enough that I can slide a piece of paper under there, you're doing the work. So think of it, it doesn't have to be lifting all the way up. It can be a little lift, because everybody's hip flexors are going to have a little bit different range of motion and a little bit different ability to work. Give these exercises a try. Make sure to acknowledge that you are working that muscles right there in that crease of that hip. So that's where you should be feeling the work. And give it a try and let me know. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.